I never thought a moment of pure mortification could change my entire life. But here we are. My name is Adrian, and I need to tell you about the day my carefully constructed walls came crashing down in the most unexpected place imaginable, a gym shower stall. Yeah, I know how that sounds, but trust me, this isn't what you're thinking. This is about the moment I stopped lying to myself, stopped pretending, and finally admitted what I'd been feeling for months. And it all started because Finn walked into my shower stall and said he thought it was empty. Let me back up. 6 months ago, I joined this gym near my apartment because my doctor said I needed to do something about my stress levels. I'm a graphic designer, which means I spend about 12 hours a day hunched over a computer, surviving on coffee and the occasional protein bar I remember to eat. The gym seemed like a good idea in theory. In practice, I hated every second of it. I didn't know what I was doing. I felt self-conscious around all these people who actually knew how to use the equipment, and I was pretty sure I was doing everything wrong. That's when Finn approached me. It was my third week, and I was struggling with a bench press, probably about to drop the bar on my chest and make headlines as the idiot who died at the gym. He just appeared beside me, this tall guy with sandy brown hair and these incredibly kind hazel eyes, and said, "Hey, mind if I spot you? You look like you could use a hand." Most people would have been embarrassed, but something about the way he said it, no judgment, just genuine offer to help, made me say yes. That was the beginning. Finn became my unofficial gym partner. We started coordinating our schedules, meeting up 3 times a week. He taught me proper form, helped me set realistic goals, celebrated when I hit new personal records. He was a physical therapist, so he knew his stuff, and he had this way of explaining things that made sense. But more than that, he was just easy to be around. He'd tell me about his patients, these funny stories that had me laughing between sets. He'd ask about my design work, actually seemed interested in the projects I was working on. We fell into this comfortable rhythm, and I started looking forward to the gym in a way I never expected. Here's the thing, though. Somewhere around month 3, I realized I wasn't just looking forward to the workout. I was looking forward to seeing him. I'd catch myself watching him when he demonstrated an exercise, noticing the way his shoulders moved, the concentration on his face. I'd feel this weird flutter in my chest when he'd clap me on the back after a good set, his hand warm through my t-shirt. I'd go home after our sessions and replay conversations in my head, analyzing every word, every smile, every moment of eye contact. I tried to tell myself it was just friendship, just appreciation for someone who'd helped me out. But I was lying to myself. And on some level, I knew it. I'd dated women before, had a few relationships that never quite felt right, always felt like I was performing a role rather than actually connecting. I'd had thoughts about guys before too, fleeting attractions I'd quickly pushed down and ignored. But this thing with Finn, it wasn't fleeting. It was constant and growing stronger every time I saw him. The problem was I had no idea if Finn was even gay. He never talked about dating anyone, never mentioned a girlfriend or boyfriend. He was friendly with everyone at the gym, men and women alike. For all I knew, I was just his charity case, the awkward guy he'd taken pity on. The thought of saying something, of risking our friendship and making things weird, terrified me. So I kept my mouth shut and tried to act normal, even as my feelings grew more intense. Then came that Thursday afternoon. We'd had a particularly brutal leg day workout. Finn had pushed me harder than usual, and I was pretty sure I wasn't going to be able to walk the next day. We were both drenched in sweat, exhausted in that good way that comes from really pushing yourself. The gym showers were individual stalls with curtains, nothing fancy, but they had good water pressure, and were usually pretty empty in the mid-afternoon. I grabbed my stuff from the locker and headed to the showers. Most of the stalls were empty, so I picked one in the middle, hung my towel on the hook outside the curtain like I always did, and stepped inside. The water felt amazing, washing away the sweat and tension. I stood there for a minute, just letting it run over my shoulders, thinking about nothing in particular. Or maybe I was thinking about Finn, about how he'd smiled at me when I managed to complete my last set of squats. I might have been thinking about that. I was shampooing my hair, eyes closed, when I heard the curtain slide open. Before I could react, before I could say anything, Finn stepped into the stall. For a second, we just stared at each other. He was completely naked, clearly having been about to shower, and I was standing there with soap in my hair, equally naked, frozen in absolute shock. His eyes went wide, his face flushed red, and he stammered out, "Oh God, I'm so sorry. I thought it was empty." There was no towel on the hook. He backed out immediately, yanking the curtain closed, still apologizing through the thin barrier. "I thought it was empty. I swear, I didn't see a towel. I'm sorry, Adrian. I'm so sorry." I stood there under the water, heart pounding so hard I thought it might burst out of my chest. My towel must have fallen off the hook. It happened sometimes with the cheap hooks they had. But that moment, that split second of eye contact, the look on his face before he'd backed away, something about it felt different than simple embarrassment. I finished my shower in a daze, dried off, got dressed. My hands were shaking. When I came out of the locker room, Finn was sitting on a bench in the lobby area, already dressed, his hair damp. He looked up when he saw me, his expression anxious. "Can we talk?" he asked quietly. "Outside, maybe?" We walked to a coffee shop down the block in silence. The afternoon sun was warm. People were passing by on the sidewalk. Everything felt surreal and too bright. We got our drinks, found a table in the corner away from other people. Finn kept running his hand through his hair, not quite meeting my eyes. "I'm really sorry about that," he said finally. "I genuinely thought the stall was empty. Your towel wasn't on the hook." "I know," I said. "It falls off sometimes. It's okay, Finn. It was just an accident." But even as I said it, I could feel something hanging in the air between us, something unspoken and heavy. We sat there for a moment, both of us staring at our coffee cups. Then Finn took a breath, like he was about to jump off a cliff. "Adrian, I need to tell you something," he said. "And I need to tell you because I think if I don't say it now, I never will." That moment in the shower, it wasn't just embarrassing because I walked in on you. It was embarrassing because for a second, I didn't want to look away. And I've been trying to figure out how to tell you for weeks now that these gym sessions, they mean more to me than just working out. You mean more to me than just a gym partner. I felt like the world had tilted sideways. My heart was doing this weird stuttering thing, and I couldn't quite catch my breath. Finn was still talking, words tumbling out like he'd been holding them back for too long. "I don't know if you feel the same way. And if you don't, that's totally okay. We can forget I said anything. But I had to tell you. I like you, Adrian. Like really like you. And I think maybe I have since that first day I spotted you on the bench press. You know those moments in life where everything suddenly makes sense? Where all the confusion and uncertainty just crystallizes into perfect clarity? This was that moment for me. I looked at Finn, at this man who'd been patient with me, who'd encouraged me, who'd made me laugh and feel capable and seen. This man I'd been trying so hard not to want, and I realized I didn't have to try anymore. "I like you too," I said, and my voice came out rough. I've been trying not to. Trying to convince myself it was just friendship. but I like you so much it scares me." His face transformed, this smile breaking across it that was so genuine and relieved and happy that I felt something in my chest crack open. "Yeah?" he asked. "Yeah," I confirmed. We talked for 2 hours in that coffee shop. Not about anything particularly deep, just talking the way we always had. But now with this new understanding between us. He told me he'd been out as bisexual since college, that he'd dated both men and women but hadn't been in a relationship in over a year. I told him about my confusion, about the relationships that never felt right, about how I'd been questioning things for a while but had been too scared to really examine it. He listened without judgment, just nodding and understanding. When we finally left the coffee shop, the sun was setting. We walked slowly back toward the gym parking lot where our cars were. At my car, we stood there for a moment, neither of us quite ready to leave. "So what happens now?" I asked. Finn smiled, that same warm smile I'd been secretly memorizing for months. "Well," he said, "I'd really like to take you on an actual date. Not the gym, not a coffee shop we ran to in panic. A real date where I pick you up and we go to dinner and I try to impress you." I laughed, some of the nervous tension finally breaking. "You've been impressing me for months," I told him. His smile got wider. "Good," he said, "but I'm still taking you to dinner." "Tomorrow night." "Tomorrow night," I agreed. He stepped closer, and I held my breath. He reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away if I wanted, and cupped my face with his hand. "Can I kiss you?" he asked quietly. I nodded, not trusting my voice. He leaned in and kissed me, soft and gentle, and it was nothing like any kiss I'd had before. It felt right in a way I didn't know kisses could feel, like coming home, like finding something I didn't know I'd been searching for. That was 4 months ago. 4 months of learning how to be in a relationship with someone who actually sees me, who I don't have to pretend with. 4 months of discovering parts of myself I'd kept locked away. It hasn't all been easy. Coming out to my family was terrifying, though they were more supportive than I expected. Telling my friends required some courage too. But having Finn beside me through all of it, patient and encouraging just like he was in the gym, made it possible. We still work out together 3 times a week, but now we also cook dinner together at his place or mine. We binge watch shows on his couch, my head on his shoulder. We take weekend trips to the mountains, hike trails, and talk about everything and nothing. He's met my friends, I've met his. We've had our first fight, our first makeup, our first "I love you." That happened 2 months in, late at night in his bed, both of us half asleep. He said it first, just whispered it in the dark. "I love you, Adrian." And I said it back immediately because it was true. Had been true for longer than I wanted to admit. Last week, we were back at that same coffee shop, sitting at that same corner table. "Remember when we sat here and you told me you liked me?" I asked him. He grinned. "You mean when I had a complete panic confession after walking in on you naked in the shower?" "Yeah, I remember." I reached across the table and took his hand. "Best accident that ever happened to me," I said. He squeezed my hand, his thumb rubbing across my knuckles in that absent way he does. "Same," he said softly. "Definitely same. Here's what I've learned in these past months. Love doesn't always announce itself clearly. Sometimes it sneaks up on you disguised as friendship, as gym sessions, as someone teaching you proper squat form. Sometimes it takes a mortifying accident to break down the walls you've built. Sometimes the person you're meant to be with has been right there all along, and you just needed the courage to see it. I used to think I knew who I was, what I wanted, what my life would look like. Turns out I didn't know anything. I was so busy trying to fit into the shape I thought I should be, that I couldn't see who I actually was. Finn didn't change me exactly. He just made it safe for me to stop hiding. He made it okay for me to want what I wanted, feel what I felt, be who I actually am. The gym where we met is still part of our routine. We're there most weekday afternoons, going through our workouts, pushing each other to be better. But now when he spots me on the bench press, when his hand steadies the bar above me, I can see the affection in his eyes. Now when we finish a tough set and he grins at me, I can grin back without hiding what I feel. Now when we walk to our cars afterward, his hand finds mine, fingers interlacing naturally. People at the gym know we're together. Some probably figured it out before we did. Nobody cares. Or if they do, they keep it to themselves. The world didn't end when I stopped pretending. Life just got better. Realer. More mine. Sometimes I think about that moment in the shower stall, that split second of eye contact before Finn backed away. I think about the terror I felt, the certainty that everything was about to become impossibly complicated. I was right about the complicated part, just wrong about the impossible. Nothing about loving Finn is impossible. It's actually the easiest thing I've ever done. We've started talking about the future carefully, not wanting to rush, but also not wanting to pretend we're not thinking about it. Moving in together maybe, next year. He's got a bigger apartment than mine, better kitchen. I've started leaving clothes at his place, a toothbrush in his bathroom. He's got a drawer at mine. Small steps towards something bigger, something permanent. My mom asked me the other day if I was happy. We were on the phone, just our usual weekly catch-up call. She asked it casually, but I could hear the real question underneath. Was I okay? Was this new life? This new understanding of myself? Was it working? Was I sure? I told her the truth. I'm happier than I've ever been, Mom. I feel like myself for the first time in my life. There was a pause. Then she said, "Good, honey. That's all I want for you. To be yourself and be happy. Finn's taught me a lot over these months, and I don't just mean how to deadlift properly. He's taught me that vulnerability isn't weakness, that asking for what you need isn't selfish, that love isn't about performing or pretending or being what someone else expects. It's about showing up as your actual self and trusting that's enough. With him, I'm enough. More than enough. Last night we were lying in his bed, that comfortable silence that happens when you've been together long enough that you don't need to fill every moment with words. His arm was around me, my head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. I was thinking about how different my life is now from what I imagined it would be. How much better it is. He must have felt me thinking because he kissed the top of my head and asked, "What's going on in that brain of yours?" "I'm just thinking about shower stalls and falling towels and the best accidents that ever happened," I told him. He laughed, that warm rumble I feel through his chest. "You're never going to let me live that down, are you?" "Never," I confirmed. He was quiet for a moment, then said, "You know what's funny? I saw your towel on the hook. I saw it and I walked in anyway." I froze. "What?" He shifted so he could look at me, his expression serious now. "I saw your towel, Adrian. I knew you were in there. I'd been trying to work up the courage to tell you how I felt for weeks. And I just thought, maybe if I created a moment, any moment, it would force me to finally say something. I didn't plan it exactly, but when I saw the opportunity, I took it." I stared at him, processing this. "So you deliberately walked in on me naked?" He winced. "When you say it like that, it sounds creepy. I prefer to think of it as creating an opportunity for honest communication." I started laughing. Couldn't help it. Finn, that's insane. I know, he admitted. But it worked, didn't it? It did. I agreed. It really did. So that's my story. That's how a moment of mortification in a gym shower became the catalyst for everything good in my life now. That's how I stopped running from who I am and started running toward it instead. That's how I found love in the last place I expected, with a person who saw me before I saw myself. If you told me a year ago that I'd be here, happy and out and in love with a man, I wouldn't have believed you. I was too scared, too uncertain, too convinced that admitting what I felt would somehow ruin everything. But the truth is, admitting what I felt saved everything. It saved me. Finn's calling me from the kitchen right now, asking if I want coffee. We're at his place. It's Saturday morning, and we've got nothing planned except maybe a lazy day together. Maybe we'll go to the gym later. Maybe we won't. Maybe we'll cook breakfast together, or maybe we'll order in. It doesn't matter. What matters is I'm here, I'm his, he's mine, and I'm finally living my actual life instead of the performance of one. So yeah, my gym partner walked into my shower stall and said he thought it was empty. Turns out he was lying. And I've never been more grateful for a lie in my entire life.